deficit in Indian economic books. Okay, so first we discuss capital deficit. So there is no such term in public finance or economics as such, but in practice, one usually so here one usually hears the use of the term capital crunch, scarcity of capital in day-to-day everyday economics, new news items. Basically, the government in the news is facing the problems managing as much funds, money capital as it requires, might it for public expenditures. Such expenditure might be of revenue kind, of capital kind. Such difficulties have always been with the developing economies due to their high level requirements of capital expenditure. Had there been a term of so this situation, it would be naturally have been capital deficit. So here capital as required for the public expenditure. Such expenditure might be of revenue and of kind or capital kind. Such difficulties have always been with the economics due to their high level requirements of capital expenditure. Had there been a term so this situation, it would naturally have been capital deficit. Fiscal deficit from balance of the government or government total received from balance of the government total receipt. There is the revenue plus capital receipt and total expenditure. There is the revenue plus capital expenditure. Turns out to be negative. It shows the situation of the fiscal deficit. The concept being used since the fiscal 1997-98 in India. The situation of the fiscal deficit indicates the situation of the fiscal deficit. The situation of the fiscal deficit indicates that the government is spending beyond its means. To be more simple, we may so that the government is spending more than its income, though it's in practice all receipts of the government are not income. Basically, receipts are all form of money accruing to the government, but be it income or borrowings. Fiscal deficit may be shown in the quantitative form. That is the total currency value of the deficit, or in the percentage form of the government, form of the GDP for that particular year. The percentage of the GDP. In general, the percentage form is used for domestic or international. There is a comparative economics studies and analysis. India has been a country of not only regular but higher fiscal deficits. Moreover, the composition of its fiscal deficit has been more prone to criticism. We will see this in the forthcoming subtitle ahead. Primary deficit, the fiscal deficit excluding the interest liabilities for last year. In the primary deficit, a term India started using since the year 1997-98. This was the fiscal deficit for the year in which the economy had not fulfilled any interest payments. Primary deficit is the fiscal deficit excluding the interest liabilities for the year. In the primary deficit, a term India started using 1998. It shows the fiscal deficit for the year in which the economy had not fulfilled any interest payments on the different loans or liabilities, which it is obliged to show both the quantitative percentage of GDP form. This is considered a very hardly tool in the first process of bringing in more transparency. Okay, in the government expenditure pattern, any 2 years, for example, might be compared, and so many things can be found out clearly, such as which year the government depended more on loans and the regions behind higher and lower fiscal deficits, whether the fiscal deficits have gone down due to falling interest liabilities or some other factors. I said monetary deficit What are the fiscal deficit which has provided by the RBI to the government in a particular earmarked deficit. This is a new term, okay, adopted since 1978 in India. This is shown in both the forms in quantitative as well as the percentage of the GDP for the particular financial year. It is an innovation in the fiscal management which brings in more transparency of the government's expenditure behavior and also in its capabilities concerning its dependence on market borrowings by the RBI. Basically, every year both the central and state governments in India had been depending heavily on market borrowings for its long-term capital requirements. Market borrowings of the government are done and managed by the RBI. Besides the RBI is also the primary customer for government securities. Yet another means of the governments to raise the long-term capital. This has been a major area for fiscal concern in India after the process of fiscal consolidation was started by the government by the early 1990s. We see a visible improvement in this area. This term is arrived as part of the fiscal reforms in India. Okay, we will visit the ratio of fiscal consolidation in India. Deficit and surplus budget. Here we can see. Okay, so it is last. So when the budgetary proposal to the government for a particular year was a higher expenditure than the received, it is known as deficit budget. Okay, opposite to this, if the budget proposes lesser expenditure than the receipts, then it is surplus budget. In practice, the governments world, the practices with the government the world. Governments the world over usually do not present a surplus budget as it symbolizes government's lower concerns toward development, but at times as a political reference, a government might come out with such a budget. For example, the Uttarakhand budget for 2006 and 7 was a surplus budget. How can a government propose this for the surplus budget in a developing state when even developed countries still need development and are paying for deficit budgets? The Union budget in India had never been presented as a surplus budget. So next we discuss deficit financing. So thank you.